It is 6 o'clock, so we could turn it over to the mayor.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Tonight, we're going to issue the oath of office to Ryan Hoffman. Last time when we issued the oath, he had previous engagement and everything, so that's why we had to wait till tonight, and so we'll swear him in. So, Ryan, if you want to step up. Raise your right hand, please. Put your left hand. Okay. I, please state your name.
I, Ryan Hoffman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, defend, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of my office with fidelity.
the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations. Okay. Congratulations.
All right, welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay, I'll turn it over to Lauren.
all right, I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with pledge to the flag and a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is approval of the December 2025 and January 5th, 2026 meeting minutes, or previously distributed.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 9th and January 5th meeting minutes without correction.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, discussion. All right, all those in favor of approving December 9th, 2025 and January 5th, 2026 council meeting minutes as provided signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. Next is citizens' requests or concerns. We have anyone who would like to address council at this time may do so.
My name is Linda Belial, and I reside at 437 Penview. At the swearing-in meeting on January 5th, the idea of revising standing minutes was presented. I came away a little bit confused on how this might work. I have personally experienced committee meetings going back 8 years ago, and the committees used to require minutes so that there was a record of borough business, and now there is nothing formal to review as minutes have been eliminated, and this concerns me. I'm talking about eliminated from the committee minutes. Committee minutes, just the committees. Those committee meetings were interactive with the opportunity for citizens to address concerns on a conversational basis. Committee members were actively involved and minutes were provided to the council members for voting coming out of committee. The downside was the number of meetings council members were required to attend, and the meetings were spread out through the month on different days. Committees are where the work takes place on issues and the borough needs to address. A change was made to eliminate various committee meetings and to combine those meetings to the second Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. All members of the council could hear the business of the individual committees, and it became more formal with the option of citizens to address the council with 5 minutes before the meeting and 5 minutes after the meeting. Interaction with the citizens was reduced, but all council members were involved with hearing the issues and the voting. Minutes were eliminated at this committee meetings, but reducing time and labor for the council members, and with a reduction in the number of meetings a month, this method encouraged less council membership absences and eliminated a formal process for public review. In both these committee structure methods, the amount of time and effort for the council members has been reduced. A chair of a committee and committee members have been chosen at the beginning of the session, and those individuals are responsible for doing the work on personnel, finance, and public works welfare. Each member of the council handles new hires, union negotiation, new resolutions and ordinances, sewer and street work, public welfare, college or hometown projects like the hero banners, new land developments, etc. This requires educating oneself to protect the welfare of citizens of Millersville. Absolutely no one individual can know everything, and these issues require educating oneself. That takes time and effort, sometimes a great deal of effort. Please explain how the new approach will work and provide transparency for the citizens. How will the work required of council members be accomplished? Is this new method to create individual or more individual council member participation? It may be assumed that there is not a lot of work to be done and that there are only 2 meetings a month, but my contention is that there can be much more work than a couple hours a month. I'm not comfortable as a citizen seeing the decision narrowing to the borough manager or president of council being the final decision makers. All members' thoughts and ideas are vital to this council's success. And one other thing for consideration. I would like to add an additional thought about changing the time to 6 p.m. What is the purpose of this earlier time change? Historically, it has been later, and perhaps this later time is more sensitive towards citizens' needs and attendance. Many citizens need to run errands after work and must prepare and eat dinner. Is this time change to encourage citizen involvement? I would like to hear the council members discuss the suggested change, keeping our eye on the purpose of council to represent the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Let me first address one of the points you made. Meeting minutes have not been eliminated. Committees, while they've been dissolved, the work of the committees, the same work will be done. It's just going to be spread out amongst council. This is new for all of us, but it has been successful in other boroughs. I don't know, Rebecca, if you'd like to say anything else about that at this point.
Sure. I think that the only change that the council and the residents of the borough will see is that at the second meeting of the month, instead of the only 4 people can talk at a time part of the meeting, everyone will be able to talk. And the point of the first meeting of the month is for you all to dive deep on issues.
Publicly.
Right, of any legislative type of issues, and the second meeting to remain as it always has been, the meeting for voting. Obviously barring any emergencies that need to be voted on at the earlier meeting. Minutes have always been taken. Minutes were always taken at the committee meetings before. They were lumped into the entire meeting minutes, but if you looked at the minutes from the last 4 years, it's been that the committees were, or I should say the last 2 years, they were part of the minutes for the entire meeting.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'll touch on this in my president's report, but Linda, if you have questions later, feel free to come talk to one of us. Any other citizens' requests or comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our first action item. This is advertising our bid for our 2026 street paving. So I'll start by making a motion to approve the resolution to insert, oh, am I skipping ahead? Yes.
No, that was right.
Yeah?
Would you like some help?
Okay.
So the first part of it is simply the advertisement for the bid, and that's, and I apologize, it maybe wasn't clear in your outline. That's just a simple vote. You can vote for both of these items at the same time. The advertising for the bid is to pave Landis Avenue from her to Wabank Road. That's part of our paving schedule, and that's what's coming up for this year. That is using our liquid fuels funds. And the additional approval is for a resolution to add the escalator clause. This has been going on at the borough for a number of years now, mostly since COVID, to take into account the fact that when bidders are bidding on the project, the price of the road materials could increase or decrease during that time as well as afterwards. So by having the escalator clause in the bid documents themselves, as well as then eventually in the contract with the successful bidder, this provides for the flexibility in the likely scenario that prices may change during that time. So the escalator basically says up until a certain point. So this is to approve the resolution and allow us to go ahead and start advertising the bid for the paving.
Can you review where it will be advertised?
Yes, so as required, we bid all of our projects in the newspaper. For certain bids, especially ones that are more outside of our typical, we may bid those on Penn Bid, which is an online statewide used program to bid. We often do those with some of our engineering projects. For our standard paving project, we typically just advertise that into the newspaper.
Has that historically gotten good results?
Yeah, we usually get a good number of bidders from that. Typically, we also let all of the local contractors know as well, because there are some who typically work with municipalities, so we let them know as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that clarification. So,
If you want to add in, sorry, again, my fault, motion to approve the resolution and advertise bidding.
okay, I'll make the motion to approve the resolution, advertise bidding, and insert the escalator clause.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. All right. We're now going to move into our workshop items. We have no old business to discuss. First item of new business is discussion of reappointment of Jillian Healy to the Park Commission with a term ending in December 31st, 2028. Had there been any discussion on this with previous council?
No, we just received her interest in being reappointed at the end of December.
Okay.
She has served on the commission for a few years now.
Okay. I'll make the motion to reappoint Jillian Healy to the Park Commission with a term ending December 31st, 2028.
Second?
Point of order. I'm sorry, you said December 31st, 2020. Oh, okay, nope, that's just fine. On the docket you have for us, Rebecca, the date is different between the header and the actual council action headings. Just confirm for us that the term ending on December 31st, 2028 is correct, please?
Yes, 20.
Yes, okay.
I'm not sure I'm seeing the difference.
The action item says commission on January 27th voting agenda. Oh, it's,
We're placing that on the January
Placing.
27th voting agenda, so we're not voting
Yeah.
on it now, we're,
It's this, so it's
my
just-
mistake, yes.
That's just part of how the workshop would work then, is that
Yeah.
anything that you wanted to move out of the workshop would be voted on to, but add to the agenda at the next meeting.
and we will vote on it
Does that
next
make sense?
meeting, yes.
All right,
Okay.
thanks for holding our hand through this.
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for.
All right, I'll make the motion to place the reappointment of Jillian onto the Park Commission for the January 27th agenda.
Seconded. Oh, you can give it to Mike, he seconded the first one.
All right. All right, discussion? All right, all those in favor of placing the reappointment of Jillian Healy on the Park Commission onto the January 27th agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Next is discussion of a proposal by Cherry Beckert LLC to provide audit services. Rebecca, do you want to share any additional information on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So as some of our returning council members remember, that at the end of last year, council made a change to how we were doing our accounting and our auditing services. We moved to use SEK, which is our current auditing firm, as to help us with our outsourced accounting services in light of the change with our finance officer leaving and us needing to have that additional outsourced service for our accounting, which so far is going swimmingly, by the way. But because that they are now going to serve more on an internal capacity in terms of working with our books pre-audit, they cannot also serve as the auditors. So they've been working with Cherry Beckert is another local auditing firm that other municipalities use in the area, who they've worked with closely. So we got a proposal from them. And a note too, we started having this discussion last year to try to figure out how we could also bring down costs on our audit, because it just seemed to be one of our bank accounts that was holding up why we couldn't just do the required DCED financial audit versus doing all the additional footnotes. And we talked with Truist, that was the bank that was holding it up. Truist has our Rudder Fund and also is our debt services through. They were willing to just accept the DCED audit going forward. So that means that we do get to save a little bit of money on how much we spend on the full audit every year, because it'll be just the DCED audit, which includes really all of the financial information. The only thing that just won't have is the additional footnotes, not required of us as a municipality. DCED has never had an issue with what we submit. So get a little bit of savings in there.
Do you have an idea of how much the savings is?
We looked at it, it's gonna be a couple thousand.
Okay.
That we'll save every year.
And my recollection, Rebecca, is that by removing the finance officer from the offices here and having SEK come in to provide some limited services for us on a financial end was a modest increase in cost to us as a borough. Is that offset entirely by the savings on the reduced audits? Are we actually making money on this new organization?
Maybe like 1,000. I mean, like a nominal,
We're breaking even.
essentially.
And we're getting a greater degree of expertise in the finance part of things here in the office.
And ideally, I think one of the, as well as not having to do the footnoted financial statements, but also the fact that our books will be mostly clean going into it, should also save us time on the hours it takes to do the audit, so saving us money also in the end.
Excellent.
So we're really excited about this, this move. So what we'd be looking for this evening is approval for them to put together their engagement letter. What they sent over, what was in your backup, was just their initial proposal. And then we'd be looking for council to want us to move forward with the engagement letter, which then we can bring to council hopefully at the 27th meeting.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and make the motion to place the approval of that engagement letter provided by the audit service, Cherry Beckert LLC, to put on the agenda for January 27th.
Seconded.
Any further discussion?
Just a quick one. So the other issue that we had over the past couple of years with SEK was some difficulty in receiving feedback on the audit with some degree of promptness. Do we have any idea that that might be improved with Cherry Beckert?
I'm cautiously optimistic about that, again, because we'd be going in with much cleaner books. So hopefully the need for them to do lots and lots of work on their end to try to figure things out should hopefully be less. I will say that since making this move in terms of working with SEK for some of the accounting work, it's been a lot more communicative. They're in here once a week, which has been great. So I think given all of the different moving parts of this, yes, I would expect that we'll be able to move quicker through the audit, have better communication about things, hopefully not have things missing, and then be able to finish up the audit, hopefully end of spring going forward.
And the actual interfacing with Cherry Beckert, is that primarily going to happen through our staff here or through SEK?
SEK will be providing a lot of the materials to them, but in terms of the part where they have to sort of ask more questions and things like that, that'll be interfacing still with staff.
Okay. That's all I needed.
All right, any other discussion? Question? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, that'll be on the agenda. Now for discussion of policy development, prioritization, and brainstorming for 2026. This is our chance to kind of spitball and just throw out any ideas that we're interested in, passionate about, things we want to see potentially happen in the next year. Rebecca, anything you want to add or are hoping to get out of this agenda item?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that the hope with your discussion here could be helping us know our launching point for what specific ordinance changes that we're looking at for next year, or anything that we should be diving into research on outside of all of the normal stuff and all the things that we're already working on. For example, native gardens and pollinator plants was an item that the last council was working on. There wasn't really a point to be able to move that forward before the new council came in. So we want to know, is that something you want us to be jumping off of? Is it something we want to put on the back burner? I know that during some of the council onboarding, shade trees, I think, came up as something. I know someone had mentioned a question about street parking. I know we had talked briefly about data centers, although you all can determine if that's something that you want to sort of jump in head first on, or if we want to sort of hang back and see what happens. But just, the things that are on the pipeline, at least from the staff side, is the Saldo and street and sidewalk ordinance updates. We actually got the street and sidewalk back from our solicitor. We have a little bit more work to do on it, but we're making progress. Actually meeting about that tomorrow. And then, so we'll be bringing that hopefully forward in the next month or so. We'll be looking at bringing forward some rental license ordinance updates, as well as looking at an internal purchasing policy. That would be more on the resolution side. But those are things that we're pushing forward on the staff side. But in terms of things you wanted to make sure that we're providing research for, draft resolution, or draft ordinances for, this is the time for us to get that info so that we know what we can be putting on upcoming agendas. Especially, like we said, ones that were sort of possibly carried over from last year, like the native garden ordinance.
I've got a few thoughts.
Yeah.
You want me to kick us off?
Go for it. Let's generate a big list here.
Sure. So in looking at the suggested items, when we talk about native gardens and pollinator plants, that is going to have a big impact on what people decide to do come spring. So if we're going to act or move on that, I would prefer to do it before, say, mid-March, when people are doing their shopping for their home gardens and taking care of their lawns and things like that. If we can't meet a deadline like that, maybe we punt that until closer to the end of the year so that we don't have confusion in the middle of the growing season. As far as data centers, I certainly have some opinions. Some of you have been beneficiaries of my loud opinions about what's going on in Lancaster with CoreWeave and the data centers. I don't know how pressing that is for us with our lack of developable land, but I would certainly want to see something maybe in our zoning that prevents data centers from being classified as something like how they have it in the city right now, where it's being classified as general warehousing or something along those lines, when given its power consumption and water consumption, It is certainly more than just that. They're also very noisy, and they soak up a lot of resources. So it's one of those things where I don't see a sufficient benefit either in employment or into society at large for these data centers that I would like to see us protected, but I think our lack of developable land sort of safeguards us against that.
I mentioned street trees or shade trees. I think that might be something that we could ask our Parks Commission to help look into. So maybe a way of looping in some of our committees. I'm certain that there's programs out there and grants available for helping replace some of the dying shade trees in Millersville. A low-cost replacement with recommendations on location and species type. I'm interested in that. I have some items about working with the university. I know we've talked about kayak access at Creek Drive, trail easement along the Conestoga, and then also working with them to maybe promote services that we can bring to our residents, whether that's gym, library access, meal plan, bike share, car share, just kind of exploring how we can strengthen that partnership. And again, kind of an emphasis on recreation. We do have access to the river. Well, we're by the river. We don't really have access. I also had listed creation of an economic development advisory committee, potentially. I think everyone agrees we'd like a little more commercial business activity within the borough, and kind of talking to current business owners, former business owners, the business association, and seeing what could incentivize a business owner to locate in Millersville and explore what we can do there, as far as kind of bringing that economic incentive to them. I think those were the things that I had brainstormed on my list, so.
This is all perfect.
And not that any of them are critical, but I think there's some fun things that we could bite off when appropriate.
Yeah, a lot of this is definitely doable.
I'm in concurrence with the idea of looking into the issue of native plants and gardening to allow diversity of types of landscaping within the city, or within the borough, and also to help differentiate that issue of what are weeds in the borough, because we certainly want to protect the visual aspects of our community, so that it looks good. But on the other hand, we also want to encourage biodiversity, if at all possible, and allow people some options other than just straight grass.
Other ideas, thoughts?
No, I think some of the best brainstorming has come from the citizens, among other people here. Richard Franz has given a lot of good ideas, and I've been, checking certain things. I think all of the suggestions you made have improved that weird intersection up there at North Duke. I haven't walked through your yard to see the baseballs out there, but, as always, the suggestions from the citizens are very good every time.
One other thing, just because I know it's been in the news locally recently, about allowing accessory dwelling units, something to explore. I know it's touched on in our comprehensive plan, but our code does not allow it for non-related family members. So something to explore. It's a way to increase property value and increase density without a lot of extra traffic.
Yeah, we can pull some examples of this. there's a lot of them out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
We can start pulling those and seeing what would work for the borough, so we can look at that.
Yeah. Any other ideas? Nothing's too off the wall. I think it's fine to kind of do a brain dump and really, anything is okay.
This is great, this gives us a lot of direction.
Okay.
We will try to take Native Gardens and see if we can get that as soon as possible. We did already start to put some research and drafts together, starting at the end of last year. So we can pull those and see how quickly we can move. My only concern is because it would be an ordinance, March might be like difficult because of the fact that ordinances require additional advertising, but it's not out of the question.
I don't disagree, but people are making decisions about what their lawns are going to look like around that time and hitting the garden stores and whatever. The last thing I want is somebody to drop $800 on mulch and suddenly realize that what they had planned is no longer applicable or okay, or they could have gone a different direction or whatever.
Sure. But we can definitely work on that one ASAP, and then definitely we can talk about all of the other ones. I think there's plenty of opportunity to put those on future agendas and start pulling together research for this. So thank you. Very helpful.
Great, thanks. All right, that's it for our new business. On to the mayor's report.
Okay. Yes, I attended the Millersville Business Association meeting on Wednesday, January 7th, and they have it, they hold them at 7:30 in the morning and at the Jack's Family Restaurant. It's attended by about a dozen representatives of the various businesses in the borough. And the agenda included the Millersville Borough report, where I introduced myself as the new mayor and gave a brief description about my background. And then we received reports from Penn Manor School District and Millersville University. And then they covered the events. There's two events that they sponsor every year. So they covered the recent one, which was Santa Comes to Millersville, and they discussed various ways to how to improve the event in favor of the businesses to help out. And they're looking at Saturday at the Park, which is their other event, and they're going to contact the borough to try to firm out a date sometime in September, end of September for that. And then National Night Out, that wasn't listed on as one of their events, but I believe that's something that the borough sponsors every year, so we tag along with that. Then they covered the future 2026 dates for future meetings that they had. Then I believe a number of us are going to be attending the newly elected municipal official boot camp, which is put on by the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs. And it's basically a training session to help newly elected officials. And some of the agenda items are, we're going to cover the Sunshine Act, committees and boards, bidding requirements, personnel management, budgeting, zoning, planning and zoning, public works, and fire and police. So that's going to be held on Friday, January 23rd, and Saturday, January 24th. So that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, manager's report.
Sure. So one announcement and one an FYI, I guess. The first one, the Hometown Hero Banner Project. We're starting into our second year. And we will start accepting applications for, we're hoping for 25 new banners this year. Applications will open on January 30th. And applications can be picked up in the borough office, or they will be available on our website as well. It is first come, first serve, so once we do receive those 25, then that is it for this year. But for those who had banners last year, they will remain up. This is adding 25 more. We're told by the company that puts together the actual banner itself tend to last around 3 years or so. So those that are currently up will stay up for those 3 years. Once we notice that they're starting to become weathered, we'll pull them down. We'll speak to the family and see if they want to put a new banner up. But we're hoping to continue to keep adding more poles every year so that we have more banners to go up. But if you want one of the 25 this year, January 30th is the date to remember. And the other thing's an announcement that I'm really excited to share. We just got this info yesterday. The borough was successful in receiving a very large grant from DCNR for our phase 1 of the park master plan. We received $373,000, which is absolutely fantastic. That was exactly what we asked for, so could not be more thrilled. That with the money that we received from DCD, both of those items together basically make up the match that we were looking for to match what the borough had set aside for this year for phase 1 of the park master plan project.
All right.
Excellent news.
This is
That's
really
wonderful.
exciting.
First up is the bathroom, right?
First is the bathroom.
It's so exciting.
As far as I'm aware, this is the first time that the borough has received a grant of this size for our park, so this is really very exciting. A huge shout out, of course, to our park commission for their help in putting together the master plan, and we could not be more thrilled. So we will have more information coming. We're now going to regroup with the consultant who helped us put together the master plan to start looking at engineering of the project. I don't make any guarantees that you're going to see anything in the next few months in the park, because it's going to take a little while. We have time with the grants both give us multiple years to actually finish the phase 1, but it is really very exciting for us, and hopefully one of many that we will be able to apply for and receive in the coming few years. So exciting things going on this week.
That's excellent. Well, I'll start my president's report by thanking you for the work I'm sure you put in to getting that grant. That's excellent. I wanted to touch on liaisons. We've talked about this, utilizing our new format and having everyone kind of assigned to a certain topic. This will address maybe what you're talking about, Linda. Rather than committees, everyone will have one or multiple issues, topics that they take charge of. So I'd like everyone to think about areas that they're interested and let me know, and I will pull together our list of liaisons for moving forward. I was also going to mention the PSBA training, so for those fellow council members who will be doing that, I'll see you Friday and Saturday. And that is all I have for the president's report. We have additional time for citizens' requests and concerns, if anyone would like to address.
I just have a comment, since I've never sat here in the audience before. We can't hear Rebecca. Because her.
Sorry, I didn't move a mic.
Well, I think it might be because of where the stand is. Because when she's addressing council, she's facing that way, and I think we lose a lot of what you're saying.
So sorry. I'll remember to grab this mic. We use that mic there so that the people in the audience can come up and speak.
I'm just making a comment that we do lose what you're saying. We can't hear you.
All right, thank you. We do not need an executive session this evening. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, second? Marion? All right. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.